Alright, back again, Luke here. And as you can see in front of you, today we have another PCB here from that lot from Ken6275, and this is a broken Black Tiger PCB. This board is in some pretty rough shape, and I'm not lying. Okay, that was just bad. But yeah, it does have some very questionable repairs going on here, or maybe it's just because it's so old. This is actually moving, so the crystal's moving there. That doesn't look so good, but lots of corrosion on the board here. Yeah, it just doesn't look like it's in the greatest shape. Definitely seen much better day. Oh, okay, there's this one too. Yeah, this is one of, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Let's see. 10 is audio plus, then it's red, blue, sync? No, red, blue, ground. I can't remember what this one is, but it doesn't look so great. The rest of the board here, you can see it's kind of bowing together, and the bottom of it doesn't look, well, doesn't look much better. Maybe these are factory jumpers. They kind of look like they possibly could be factory jumpers. But yeah, this monster is in need of some help here. And I don't know if I feel comfortable plugging it in right now as it is, just because there's nothing really preventing this side from touching. So it's just kind of teetering on that middle one. Okay, well, let's do this. Let's try to put something in the middle here. And what do I got? I got some paper. I guess I can use some bubble wrap here, just to try and make sure that these two sides don't touch. So the front side has one post there. Maybe that'll be stable enough. But just looking at the board here, just a small overview. Nope, that's definitely going to need something up front too. Let's see here. Some tissue. This is really just kind of jumbled together. And that looks like it's okay. Let's turn this thing on here. We'll plug it in and check some of that. See what it does or what it doesn't do. Make sure it's okay. Looks okay. Oh, yeah. Can you guys see that? There's actually something there. Oh, it is playing. Oh, look at that. It is super, super, super dark. Like beyond dark. Let's see. Does it coin up? Oh, you can hear it coining up too. But let's see. It's not as bad as what I thought. Well, I mean, it's bad, but you know, depending on the angle here, you can kind of see more text. Like looking at it directly, like direct on it, I mean, it looks like this. It looks, you know, pitch black. So pitch black to go with the title, I guess. I don't know. But if we get really close, we can see it is kind of working. Ribbon cables, no change. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's working. I mean, but yeah, it is not really working. So, I mean, a lot of these jobs here, this like botched up stuff here, and you know, look at this. I mean, you guys can see this is a really rusted, yeah, I mean, in rough shape crystal here. I don't know if I have another one. Maybe I can replace this 24, let's see here, 24 megahertz crystal. Yeah, it's a 24.0. Yeah, so that, maybe I have one. I don't know, we'll see. I might try and replace that and remove all of these chips from the sockets. First thing I think I want to do is I want to address this thing. I'm just not a big fan of this setup here. It looks like at one point in time the trace ripped out. I don't know how or why the trace would rip out of something like this. unless it was just scraped off or something. But yeah, we need to replace that and see what we can do. But I think I might just try and work on this one first, and then we'll work our way around the rest of the board. Maybe see if this changes anything, because, I mean, yeah, doesn't look so great. So let's get on that, and we'll take the ribbon cables off here. And get to the dismantling part of this board. Let's put this down. Maybe we can do this. It'll be a little bit easier. And we got one of those clips on the inside here. Pliers. There we go. But yeah, I'm not digging that at all. Nice cool afternoon today. Let's take this up here. And there is quite a bit of, yeah, mess going on down here. We've got a couple of cuts down on the bottom again. This could be a result of the top board touching the bottom board, which, if that's the case, may cause some other issues. Could be a possible broken trace there. We've got some other scratch marks and whatnot on the back side here. And let's take a look at this top one. Okay, well, somebody's gone and reversed this resistor array and put that on the bottom for some reason. I guess that's to, I don't even know if that's, yeah, okay, that's for the custom chip there. Maybe that's standard, or maybe the custom chip's not functioning properly. This looks really rough. Once again, we got some pretty bad soldering going on there. Some stuff over here looks a bit burnt. And yeah, burn spots or leftover flux. Looks like maybe at one point this was replaced, but for the crystal. And some missing spots over here. Just so much stuff. But once again, let's try the easy stuff here. And let's go ahead. Wait, what would be considered easy on this board? What can we do to fix this spot here? I don't want to use just a regular wire to replace this one. It just won't look right, I think, in the end. And since this is a bit of a classic board here, I want to try and make this a little better. Let me see what I can do. Ideas, ideas, ideas. Why is that connected up here? That should be connected through the via too. That seems a bit odd. Okay, I'm going to come up with something. I'll be back here and I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, so I came up with a crazy idea. It's not the first one I've had. But as you can see, like I'd mentioned before, these look all, you know, factory and whatnot. I'm not a big fan of these botch wires. So what I was thinking is I found this. This is an old edge connector. And since it does have the same copper to it, what I'm thinking is I'll make a trace of this using this, and I'll remove this from the whatever the fiberglass that it's on using heat, and then I'll try to transplant that onto this, and maybe that'll kind of work. It should look a lot better. I mean, I'm gonna have to make the design for it, but I think we can do it. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna use my heat gun and see if we can get this hot enough to scrape this part off. And then we can use that as our copper. Normally, if I had some extra copper, like, you know, everybody has copper laying around. If I had some extra copper or something like that, I would give that a shot. But let's just try it. Let's see what we got. So I've got this. I've got a pair of vice grips. Let's see. Like I said, we're just doing stuff. This is, you know, this is wild stuff that people don't normally do, I'm guessing. Maybe they do. Maybe there are other people out there that are just as crazy as I am. Let's see if we can add some flux to this, just to heat it up even more. And I don't know if I have a knife here that I can use to scrape it away. could have thought this one through. Let's try this. Let's use this knife here. See if we can get it hot enough and peel it back or peel it off. Alright guys, this is all theory, so let's give it a shot here. I've got my heat gun. It's going to be kind of loud, so... This may not work in the end, but we're still going to try. See that the solder has become molten here. I can kind of see it blistering now. Maybe we can scrape this off. As you guys can see here, it's kind of blistering upward. Come on, come off there. I need it to come off in one piece though, because it's not going to work if it doesn't. Maybe I'm going to have to add some more heat to it. See if this is any better. It's super hot, but I just need this stuff to come off. There we go. There we go. If I can get this little tab off too, that would be nice. But if not, that's okay. All right, that's okay. Okay. Oh. All right. This may be enough. It doesn't look perfect, but maybe it'll be enough for us to use. Alright, it's actually not as hot as you guys would think. Okay, we've got our piece of copper here, and it's a bit stronger than the tape kind of copper, so what I'm going to do is I'm maybe polish this up a little bit. I'm going to make a template out of this, and then we're going to put it in place and see how that works. Maybe that will work for us. So I'll get on that. I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so before we draw up our template, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this botch wire here. Get rid of this. And we'll take this one off as well. I don't know why that was connected there. Maybe that is the ground, but once again, we are going to try to clean up this a little bit. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is I don't want this to spread. So in order to keep this from spreading, I'm going to use some Captain tape. I've got some Captain tape here. This is what we're going to lay down on the rest of the pins here, just so we don't change the color of them. Maybe we can get away with just removing that small spot. So I'm going to add this one here, try and get around the camera. We'll put this down here so it doesn't go any further. So we don't want this to bleed its way into the other side. Once again, we'll get our flux. Woo. And add a little bit here, add a little bit to the tip. And let's remove this. We're still going to have a little bit here, it looks like. Yeah, we're still going to have a little bit there, but that's okay. I just need to try to make this look better. Now we need to find a way to make a template. So maybe we can use this piece of wire that we just ripped off, and we will strip it down. See what kind of shape we need to make here. This is, it doesn't have to be exact, but I want it to look better than what it does right now. So we're going to put this here, put a bend, suppose. I guess that's more of a 45 degree or 90 degree. So here. Alright. So it goes there, and then we're going to put another bend be here, like so, and then one more bend going down, and I didn't strip this enough. Maybe a bit more. I just want to get the general shape here, so when I go to make this template for the new trace, I know what shape. I'll just draw it out on the, yeah, that looks like it will work. So it's going to be like that there. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that or not. This is really rough here, so when I turn the camera off, we're going to make it a bit better, but that's how it's going to kind of fit on there, like so. So I'm going to go ahead, straighten this up. I'm going to draw it out on the copper here, and I'm going to cut it with a pair of scissors. We're going to use some Gorilla Glue and hold it in place, and we're going to solder this pin onto that, and hopefully it'll look at least a little bit better. So I'm going to get on that. I'll see you guys in a bit. So after a bit of further inspection and kind of cleaning this off here, it does look like that top point is connected to the top there as well as the bottom. But there's a possibility maybe it wasn't going all the way through to the bottom as well. So, but anyway, what I've done is I've kind of redesigned this one just a little bit. I've taped this wire to a piece of Captain tape, and it is the same pattern here. And what I'm going to do is just using a pair of scissors, I'm going to cut it out. And that should give us the same shape that we need here, and should work out pretty well. So I'm going to cut this out here, and we'll see what it looks like afterward. Okay, so after a bit of cutting, this is what we have as far as our trace goes. Now I know I didn't get this exactly the same width here as these traces. This is really, really thin, so I didn't want to cut it too thin here, but maybe when we get it all glued in and everything else is situated with the solder, and then maybe put some solder mask over the top of it, maybe it'll look a little bit better. But I need to get this glued down and then soldered in, and yeah, then I'll show you guys where we're at. Okay, so using the top here from a row of header pins like these, I just punched this through so it went through the other side of the board. Hopefully we can just wiggle this off, and the pin should make the contact through the board there, like so. That's in there, and we'll wait for the glue to dry to try and clean it up around there, but looks maybe a little bit better than before. But yeah, I'll get on the next part here. Okay, so as you can see here, it's not perfect, but we did a little bit of camouflaging to try and make this thing blend in a little bit better, and at least it's flat, you know, for the most part. This does have a little bit of a bubble at the top there, but that's unfortunately just due to, you know, trying to connect the 2 points, but not as bad as a big red wire. So, so that part's done there. Next thing we're going to do is, like we've done on previous games, we're going to take out all the EPROMs, clean them up, take a look at these edge connectors because they don't look so great, and maybe the scratches and whatnot on the other side. These things look a little bit iffy as well too, but clean those up, and then we'll put it back together and see if we get anything different. Okay, so far what I've done is I've removed all of the socketed chips here, polished them up a little bit and put them back down. I've kind of cleaned up the slots here a little bit, and this top part of the board is okay. I figured as long as we're here, what we might as well do is try and make this a bit more stable so it's not touching when you go to put it back together. So I've got some PCB standoff posts. So we're going to try to attach those to the corners here just to give it a bit more stability. And then that way when we go to test it again, we don't have to fill it with tissue and bubble wrap. So that's what we'll do here, and then we'll slap it back together. I'm not going to change this out just yet. I want to see what it does with this still in there. I mean, it's not the greatest. Maybe it's still working, but yeah. But yeah. So we've got our standoff posts here. We've got all four corners plus the middle one here that was left from the beginning. That's keeping this much more stable. And then we've cleaned up the EPROMs and cleaned up the ribbon cables, and that's about it. Everything else is still the same. Oh, also we've repaired this trace up front, but let's plug this thing in again and see if we have any difference in anything. Let's see. Go ahead there. You can see the Gorilla Glue. Let's kill the light, just make the glare a little bit less. Let's see. It doesn't seem to have changed anything as far as the brightness goes. So we still do have a problem with the graphics in this section here. So the graphics section is causing some trouble, and it may be the traces on the bottom, and I guess we'll probably take a look at that. It could be this crystal here. You can hear it playing. Let's see. There's so many different rough points on this board that it could be almost anything. Trying to wiggle the ribbon cables here. Nothing. It's playing, but it just does not have good balance there for the screen. The screen is just way too dark. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look at some of the bottom parts of this board, things that may be scraped up a bit, and if there's any traces that we can go back over, maybe we'll give that a shot. But it is playing. It's just not very bright. Alright, let's do that. So as we've done in the past, we're going to go ahead and try and remove some of this leftover flux, clean this up a bit. Stuff does not look good at all, and it's just going to probably cause more trouble. You won't be able to see what other issues there may be underneath it. Whoever installed or removed this could have ripped out traces on the other side, which again you can't really see until you remove some of this old solder here. In fact, what I'll do is I'll probably maybe just remove this one completely and see what the other side looks like. It's kind of hard to see right now as it is. Seems really, really crusty though. Let's see here. As you guys can see, we've removed some of that crustiness on there. And I'll probably pull that out, clean up the spots around there, and then, like I said before, there are a few different places where I thought traces could be broken. I'll have to double check. This looks a bit iffy there as well, if you guys can see that. Like some burn marks or something. Over here too. There's just so many places that could be an issue, but we're going to go ahead and get on that. And I'll show you what it looks like after get it all cleaned up. So, as I decided to remove this resistor array that was bent over like this, you can see there's some burn marks there. taking a look at this, you can see that this is burned pretty badly, and this is probably going to be the cause of why the screen is bad. I think probably removing both of these chips here. I haven't checked the other side of this as well. I don't know if this is a specific resistor array or not. That actually looks bad too. That's dead. It looks like, yeah, this one as well. Geez, those all look pretty much fried. So these resistor arrays, I don't know if I can replace them with a standard one or not. I'm going to have to take a look at it, but that just doesn't look good. And the neighboring chips as well look pretty bad. So what we're going to do is, I guess, try and see if we can find some replacements for these. I hope they're not custom or anything like that. They should be standard, but we'll see. Replace the resistor arrays, replace the 367s, probably all, well, 1, 2, 3, probably all 3 of these, and that might fix our problem, guys. So I'm going to get on that, try and remove these, at least get them out, and see what we can find as far as replacements. Okay, so here we have it. These are the resistor arrays or resistor ladders that I removed, and as you can see, each one of them is scorched. They're all burned, and yeah, they're all done in the same spot, which is kind of weird. I don't know, what happened. Maybe the JAMA harness was plugged in backwards. This is, all I can guess. But these are the ICs that I wound up removing as well. You can see the burn marks on the board where things were smoking. So what I'm going to do is try and clean this up here. I'm going to resocket these ones, and I'm going to put in, I suppose, maybe some temporary resistors. I went online here and I was looking around to try and find some schematics for this. I came across the Ghosts and Goblins one, and as you guys can see here, it does show the resistor arrays. It says 100 ohms, 220, 470, 1K, and 2.2K. I do have some resistors, but none of them are exact. Like this one is like 150, so I might be able to use that for the 100. I think I have a 1K and 470 and 2.2. I'm not sure, but we're going to probably make something a bit temporary here and see if it works. And then if it does, maybe down the line, if I can find an exact replacement, we'll do that. But I'll probably just put in some temporary ones in here. I'll have to make my own resistor ladder and then try it out. But next thing we're going to do is clean this up, grab some what is it? It's cotton swabs and some rubbing alcohol. Maybe I might have some of that right now. We'll try and clean this up here a bit. But yeah, pretty interesting stuff. I mean, I never would have expected to see this, but I assume that probably somebody plugged the JAMA harness in backwards, and if this is all it does, and if this is the safety measure, then that's fantastic. It's much better than blowing, a big component, or, oh geez, well that's what is that going to? Looks like a trace that was in the middle there. I have to fix that, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, if that's the only thing that it's doing, then that's fine. If it blows one of the components that is custom or something like that, that can be a lot worse. So I think when removing a couple of these here, I wound up pulling up a couple of traces. It happens. That looks a lot better there. I think I'll probably have to put in a piece of wire there to fix that. This one, just the top part, looks like it's off, but not too bad. So we've got this cleaned up here, and we'll go ahead and fix that. This via top here looks like, the inside looks like it's okay, just the top is a bit iffy. But I'll socket these, and then we'll come back and see about making our resistor ladder. So see you in a bit. Okay guys, so here you can see what I'm doing, or I'm in the process of. I don't have the exact size for these resistors, and the height and the actual rating is a bit different. I've got quarter-watt resistors in here with, you know, even bigger ones, smaller ones all mixed together, but the ratings are pretty close. The first one I've got is a 75 ohm, 220, then there's a, what is it, 75... No, 75, 220, 470, 1K, and 2.2. I think that's what they were. But they're all lined up there. And this is a leg from, what is it? An LED that I'm using, because it's a bit stronger, so it should give it a bit more support on that, and I'll just trim it down. But I've got to make 2 more of these here to fit in there. I've got the rest of these socketed, and we're just trying to build up these arrays. We'll see how it works. Hopefully it'll work out, but you never know. So I'll cut back here when we finish that. So here it is, guys. This is my final resistor array setup, and it is not pretty by any means. Actually, it looks a bit sketch if you ask me. But the resistor values are there. I was using the parts that I had just to kind of get it together, but I didn't have the exact sizes for these things, and yeah, it's just kind of whipped together. Hopefully it'll do the job. I couldn't find any information on this last one, so I don't know what it's attached to, or if it's attached to anything, or yeah, if it's going to change anything at all. But yeah, I have no clue. As far as the other values, these are the ones that were there. I did have to change this first one. Maybe I mentioned this before, but this is 75 ohm instead of 100, but everything else is the same. Hopefully it'll make a good contact and it won't smoke and catch fire. It does look a bit kind of steampunk, kind of, if you ask me, but we're gonna go ahead and give it a shot here and try and put this thing back together and see if it does anything productive. Let's see if we can set this thing up. Got the bottom half here. I'll go ahead and pop this on. I still don't like this, what is it, the crystal over here, which I still might change. I mean, it really depends on how well this goes. If it goes well, then okay, maybe we'll change it. If not, maybe we'll still change it. Let's see what we get here. Let's hope for the best, guys. Okay, everything's clipped in. All right, let's kill the light. Please don't smoke. Let's see. Ready? Oh my gosh! Yes! Yes! Look at that! Look at that! This is freaking awesome! Yes! Yes, yes, and yes. I don't know if that red is supposed to be there or not, but that looks 100 times better. Yes! Ah, do the other colors look okay? That's the question. Yes, look at that! That is freaking beautiful. Man, this is so ugly, and yet it works beautifully. Yes! Another board here saved from the grave. This is sweet. This is a freaking awesome game. It's one that I don't have too, so... Yeah, look at that, guys. What a thing of beauty. All these other burnout toasted things here. I don't know what really would cause that, to be honest, but yeah, that is a mess. Now, like I mentioned before, yeah, I really want to change this out. I wonder... I do have a spare one, so maybe I'll take this off and see if the spare one works. It's just, I mean, it's too rusty. It's not really in there well, but heck yeah, this thing is working well. Let me try and, yeah, get on that. Let me see if I can find the other one here. It's a 24 megahertz crystal. I'm going to flip that out. Even though it's the same, maybe it's the original one, but it just doesn't look great. So I'm going to try and swap it out here, and I'll see you in a bit. So I removed that crystal, and as you can see here, I mean, this is pretty rough. So, like I said, I'm going to see about getting another crystal here for this, and I'll clean this up. You can just probably clean it up with some rubbing alcohol, and hopefully that'll fix things a bit more. Some of these other ones look so. This one looks alright for the most part, but yeah. Okay guys, so it looks like we have another issue here. Some of the characters are pretty rough, and some of the other characters you can't see, so you can't see the enemies. So you can see some of the sprites are off here, and sprites are off in the back. I'm getting hit by something, but can't see any of the enemies. So these things are, it's not perfect yet. It still has some issues here. So it looks like we're gonna have to take a look at the bottom. Maybe some of these traces are scratched up and that's why we're not getting all that, or it could be something else. So gonna have to get back on this, and thought it was done, but it's not done yet. So we're gonna give it a shot. So a couple of things that I've realized here is I've gone through all of these mask ROMs, and I've tried to check to make sure that they're all okay. All of them read fine except for number 9. And if you remember in the graphics here, I'll turn this back on, there were a couple of graphic glitches, especially in the dragon. I think when I hit the start button, and there were some in the treasure chests. But now the treasure chest is okay and the dragon is okay. The biggest problem here is that there are no enemy sprites. And I think what it comes down to is this big Konami custom. You can see just fighting nothing right now. But by pressing in certain spots on this custom, I was able to get it to change a little bit. And I did see enemies for a couple of seconds while I was messing around with it here. Oh no, it's probably not going to do it again. You can see the treasure chest is fine now. It looked like it had a ghost inside it before. Let's see. I tried everything else as far as like reversing the ribbons like I did last time, and yeah, there was nothing going on there. This one here, yeah. Put in this. You can see the dragon looks fine now. Let's see. Let's try and start it up. It's not gonna do anything this time. I was able to get some really weird graphics going on, and then the enemy sprites, they did pop up after messing around with this, but it doesn't look like it's gonna do it again. But I'm thinking I'm going to remove this chip. You could see there was a little bit of a glitch there. I think I'm going to remove this chip here and with hot air, and then see if I can put it back down again. Maybe this can be saved, I'm not sure, but it's definitely not working the way it should. I'm also worried about these two customs here. They're not very difficult to get a hold of, but they will take some time to get in, so... this is not going to do anything, is it? But yeah, there was some graphic stuff going on here. We can move along. You can see it's hitting something there. Oh, I got hit there. Yep. Yeah, it's the disappearing enemies. So what I think I'll do is I'll just maybe remove this chip here and see if that changes anything. Then I'll put it back down again. Maybe I'll be lucky enough to get it to work after that. So next thing we'll do is remove this with some hot air. So I've got the chip pulled up here, and there's quite a bit of extra solder on the bottom of that, but I'm trying to clean up the base here and make sure all the pads are nice and shiny before we go ahead and put it back down again. Like I said, it may need a new one of these. Yeah, this just doesn't... yeah, it's either going to be this is bad or it had a bad connection. or it'll come down to these customs here, because I did see the sprites pop out there once. So sorry I couldn't film this one here. It's just a bit difficult to do with a couple of, you know, hands. Just one for the pulling this up, one for using the hot air gun, and yeah, getting the camera in there is a bit tricky, but we'll try and clean this up a bit more, and we'll clean up the chip, and then we'll just reapply it. I may be doing it just by hand, just to make sure each one of these gets connected and I don't apply too much heat to the top of this chip, as it does take quite a lot of heat to get off. But yeah, we'll get on that and see what happens. So with the chip completely removed here, you can see that the graphics in the backgrounds are somewhat there, but the main characters aren't. And you can see it's just glitching all over the place. This is what it's doing without the chip in place, though. Kind of glitching a bit there. Almost sounds like it's ready to crash. But it is kind of playing. Not really. Yeah, there's no background sprites there. And there's some strange sounds going on. But that's what it does without the chip in place. So, and this chip is actually connected to these 27 or 74 LS 245s, which is why I thought maybe those 245s would have been bad. Yeah, this is taking off all the graphics here. Character graphics are gone, but it's still playing. It's just playing blind. So let's go ahead and reattach the chip. See what happens once we do that. Okay, so fast forward here about 2 weeks, and yeah, it's been a while here. I've been trying to wait for some parts to get this thing repaired, and as you can see, I've put a bit of some glue over the top of this. I know it doesn't look pretty, so don't worry about mentioning it. I'm aware. But it'll at least hold those in place, and they're still functioning. But if you remember here, this thing was showing character graphics, but it wasn't showing any of the enemy sprites or anything like that. And the problem with this one was dun, 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 this Konami custom here. So as you may be able to tell, this is the new one. This is the old one that was on there. So I removed the old one, popped in a new one, and I figured we'll go ahead and pop this on and check some of that. Flip this thing around. Get this thing all plugged in here. And show you what's going on. As you can see, we've got our title. Everything looks good. And the most important point here, you guys can see, our character sprites are back. Enemy sprites are there. We've got our item sprites. Everything is ready to go. If you guys don't remember, like last time, none of these enemy sprites, none of the items on the ground there were available. But after replacing that custom, it works great. After replacing, was it a chip number, IC number 9, I was able to fix the graphic issues with this one. So if we start it up, it should be ready to rock and roll. Got the dragon all. Obviously this will be pretty impossible with one hand, but just to share with you guys a little bit of a look at what everything looks like here, and how you can see we've got enemies. Yay! So we know what we're getting hit with, unlike last time. It's like, where were those things? Where were those shots coming from? But Black Tiger here is now officially resurrected, saved from the grave. And it did take a bit more work here, well, but definitely worth it in the end to get this classic back up and running. Oh no! That's where we're gonna die. But yeah, guys, just want to share a bit of a longer look at this repair here, and really glad to have this back up and running. But that's about all for me for right now. Like always, I'll put up another video here soon, so thanks for watching. Watching some Black Tiger repair here. We'll have to do a proper gameplay vid once we get everything going, but yeah, she is working beautifully. So, good PCB. See you guys here again soon.